From the moment when labour can no longer be converted into capital, money, or rent, into a social power capable of being monopolised, i.e. from the moment when individual property can no longer be transformed into bourgeois property, from that moment, you say, individuality vanishes. You must therefore confess that by, quote, individual, you mean no other person than the bourgeois, than the middle class owner of property. This person must indeed be swept out of the way. It has been objected that upon abolition of private property, all work will cease and universal laziness will overtake us. It certainly has been objected thus. According to this, bourgeois society ought long ago to have gone to the dogs through sheer idleness, for those of its members who work acquire nothing, and those who acquire anything do not work. Little bit of a jab there. The whole of this objection is but another expression of the tautology that there can no longer be any wage labour when there is no longer any capital. And once again, the point they're trying to get at here is the idea that this bourgeois property is an entirely different kind of stake in the world than most workers ever get access to. And that when the members of the bourgeoisie try and tell the workers that, we're all in it together, it's a little bit like the person who says, we've just won the lottery, and encouraging the person hearing them to say, we've all just won the lottery, when in fact it's me and my friends have won the lottery, but you didn't. Now, you can decide for yourself whether you actually believe that or whether you believe the idea that anyone who goes into business for themselves and works hard with enough gumption and keeps themselves going in spite of all the odds, all of them will become inevitably successful. I mean, you tell me which is the more likely story. But once again, this is how I still feel I can be a socialist without being a communist. In that sense, and why, does that mean that we get to keep some expression of capital? I mean, in my mind, kind of yes, but I don't know, and I'm not the one making these decisions. But nobody is obviously even thinking in terms of these questions, and I think it's fair to say that much of what they said in part one about the way that bourgeois society proceeds and continues to exploit and seek new markets, and eventually it kind of starts to creak a little bit as we exhaust all the markets that exist.